Hey everyone, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is the weekend, September 21st. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. This, of course, is the weekend video. We'll go over what happened last week in the market. Of course, we got the Fed rate cut decision. And then we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming up next week as we deal with the decision and how it's going to impact the market. So let's get down to it. Okay, so let's start out by taking a look at what happened last week. Quick review. Of course, the big event was everyone was waiting for was the Fed rate cut decision. Would they go half point or would they just go quarter? And of course, they ended up going the full half point, which was the odds-on favorite with the CME Fed watch tool. So we got the half cut point that everybody was hoping for, and yeah, so it was kind of interesting the way the market reacted. Of course, Powell spoke after the release of that news, and the markets were up first, and then they were down, and they kind of finished off on the day on Wednesday. So, and kind of interesting price action overnight with the futures, and we gapped up big time on the Thursday morning, and of course, kind of held those gains pretty close. Even though it was a volatile week on Friday with the triple witching, which is the expiry of options and futures all on weeklies and monthlies and dailies all on the same Friday. So anyway, we finished up the week 1.6, 1.5, 1.4%. And the IWM, of course, did the best because those are the interest rate sensitive stocks. So when those interest rates drop, the small caps do the best. Energy and financials, biggest gainers on the week. Kind of interesting. Energy has really sort of come back after being having a rough year so far, but it seems to have found a bit of a base here. Real estate and staples, they were the sectors that lost the most on the week. Staples, of course, being a risk-off trade, so not surprising that money was flowing back into the risk areas of the market. 2-year Treasury, I mean, it was pretty flat, really didn't change much at all. The 10-year bumped up a little bit here, so that was interesting. And the dollar, again, kind of flat on the week, didn't really move much. Bitcoin made another move up this week from 60,400, and it's sort of been trading around 63.3 here. And that's how the week looked. It was a good week for the bulls. And before we move forward, as always, I like to do a quick plug for my efforts here. These are my books on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, very popular book, and Profiting as an Active Trader, a little bit more intensive look at how to swing trade. And then, of course, my latest book, How to Trade Options, both as far as day trading and swing trading or even position trading. So all those books there, if you want to check them out, they're on Amazon in all the different formats, audio, electronic, or hard copy. Okay, so let's pick it up and go through some of our indexes here. You can see the TLT. This is the long-term bond fund. And again, I've mentioned this before, I'm invested in a lot of bonds right now. I've had a nice move up on the price of the bonds, which of course reflects the fact that yields have been dropping. So kind of anticipated that about a year ago and sort of got more heavily invested in bonds. So we do seem to be taking a bit of a pause here, and the 10-year kind of crept back up a little bit. I guess the thinking is maybe we're going to see some inflation in the longer term, but for the short term now, the 2 years sort of staying where it is, and the yield curve has inverted, so more of a normal yield curve, as I've talked about before. 2 year, the shorter term is yields are lower than the long term, like 10-year and 20-year yields. So like again, that is a more normal situation. Further out in time you go, the more yield or more return on your investment you want. The dollar, again, kind of reflects where the yields are going on the dollar or on the treasuries. And of course, as the yields drop, so does the dollar. As far as the Qs go, again, we're not even close to sort of new highs here. We're kind of right at an area where I think there's going to be some potential for resistance, because this was prior resistance here. We kind of got up to this area, challenged it, couldn't get through it. So I think this is going to be a real test for the markets next week, because we did have this huge gap up, this gap down after the news on Wednesday, huge gap up on Thursday. I'm not sure if it wasn't a little bit of short covering. People got short here and then they got squeezed as the futures traded overnight. They got squeezed out and market came back up. But this area here, you can see on the cues, is an area that I would be keeping an eye on closely to see if we do break out from it or if we stall there. As far as the SPY goes, we're at a all-time high. We did we're not at an all-time high, but we did make an all-time high on Thursday, pulled back a little bit, and again, looking a little toppy here. So I think this area here, pretty close to where we are right now, sort of 567. I'd be watching very closely, because if we can't sort of continue here, we may actually pull back on the SPY. So again, sort of cautious here as we've pushed to new highs on that news. And I'm a little bit concerned that we may be into a situation where it's sort of buy the rumor, sell the news event here, but we'll see. The Dow again pushing to all-time highs, pulled back a little bit Thursday, and Friday kind of regained its footing a bit. But again, Dow looking pretty solid here. We have broken out. Here we did a little bit of a pullback, check back to where we broke out from. And this is a pretty typical pattern. Again, pull back to where we break out from, and then we break higher. So Dow looking pretty solid here. But RSI is pretty overbought here. And volume a little bit light here. So anyway, again, a little bit cautious here on where we're going now that we've had this news. IWM, again, kind of hit this resistance and really pulled back here. So this is kind of at an area again where I think it's at pretty critical support. So I'd be looking for a bounce on Monday, or maybe a bit of a retracement and then bounce back on Tuesday, or possibly if it can't hold here, we may end up going lower. And again, September, October, not great months for stocks. So we've had this news catalyst that's taken us up into an area of resistance, and I'm a little bit concerned here we may be due for a bit of a pullback. And again, Bitcoin really just sort of trading in a channel here. I believe one of our other moderators, Jared, was talking about how this, if you connect the tops of these lines here, this is at the top of the channel. If you connect the bottom here, that's the bottom of the channel. But it is the channel is trending lower now. Is this a long-term, long-term pattern, long-term flag pattern? Take a look at it on a weekly basis. Again, you can kind of see this pattern setting up here, where it could be an ABCD pattern, A, B, C, and then higher. So watch this channel here on Bitcoin to see which way it breaks, or if it comes back down to this lower level again, could be an opportunity to get long Bitcoin. So that's it for the indexes. So as far as winners and losers last week, I did take a long over the weekend on this TIL trade. It really opened down and lost a little bit on the swing portion of that trade. So that one did not work out. I was kind of thinking it was going to gap up, but it didn't, unfortunately. So sold the remainder for a bit of a loss, but overall worked out okay, because I did day trade and get out of some of the position before the end of the day. And here we have SPXL, and I had this long from a week ago, and did pretty well here, and pretty much emptied the position on Friday. Was pretty much out of it on Friday, and like I said, I'm a little bit concerned that we've hit this top here and we may actually do a pullback. So SPXL, nice trade. That worked out. I'm out of it now. And I guess I had to, I got into this over a week ago and had to get out because it pulled back to my break even. So AMARC again didn't work out very well. CMG still holding. Let's take a quick look, see if it's going to pop up here. Here we go. CMG sort of crawling its way back up here. I kind of feel like we're into an area right now where I should be taking some profits again. So I may be taking some profits as we're getting into this this area here where there's a lot of buyers and sellers, a lot of people trapped here. So probably profit taking, which is probably what you're seeing here as we're getting some consolidation. But again, CMG, a nice rebound trade on some news about the CEO leaving and going somewhere else. And PLTR, still hanging on to this one. It's continuing to hold this this moving average here, the 20 EMA. And as long as we can keep moving up here, I'm going to stick with it. So those are what's some of the stuff I am in now. So potentials for next week. You know, I'm keeping this this list fairly light because, again, I'm kind of feeling like we're extended. There is a possibility of getting a pullback here on the Qs and the SPY, and maybe even the Dow. So I do have some positions. I actually should have put this in my currents because I mentioned this in the room on Friday. I got into Crowd. One of our other members sort of flagged it for me, and I just noticed it really having a nice breakout here. Looking at this gap fill that's way up here, possible for 340. I am trading it using calls, so I'm in the 300 calls that expire next week, and already 50% up on those because I got in when they was trading around 292 or something. So or maybe 294. But yeah, I'm up already on those. Sold a few and just holding the rest for next week to see if we can get into this area. Probably if I can get to 310, I'd be real happy with that trade. So still with that, and maybe should have put that in the currents, but I think it has more potential to run next week. Oracle's still hanging in there. Again, I didn't trade this, but I'm still thinking it might be a good trade. It's still hanging in this area here, doing some consolidation. 175 is pretty close to your high, and I think it's probably going to stay above this this moving average, this 162. So potential for an options trade if you're thinking the stock's not going to really go anywhere. You can still trade options and make money on that by using verticals or the dangerous selling of puts and calls. So that's an option. And Netflix, again, just looking like it's trying to break out through this 700. It's you can kind of make an argument for an ascending triangle here. Here's your lower high. And it's really trying to break out of this 700 level, just finished right above it just on Friday here. So I think Netflix watching it next week for a possible move higher through 700 and then maybe into 710. I'm not sure where that, let's take a look at it on a monthly basis and just see if this is making a new high. I don't think it is. Maybe I might not be able to. Let's try to go back maybe weekly. So we're only getting data back to 2023, so that's not going to work. So anyway, it does look like it's trying to break out here regardless. So those are the couple of stocks that I'll be watching for next. Okay, so let's wrap things up and talk about what's coming up next week. You can see here's all your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, and IWM where we went out, support and resistance levels. As far as economic events go, we have some interesting stuff. We've got the S&P Manufacturing and Services PMI on Monday, 9:45. Watch for a little volatility around that when those numbers get released. Consumer confidence, we got some home sales stuff. Pending home sales, and the big news will be Friday. People will be watching for this PCE price index data. I've already mentioned this already. This is the favored Fed inflation gauge, so everybody will be watching to see where the PCE price index data is going, and if it's going to confirm a continued weakening of inflation or slowing of inflation, or sort of stable as it's steady as she goes. As far as earnings go, again, really pretty light right now. We do have KBH home builder after the market on Tuesday. We do have Micron. That'll be interesting. Jeffries on Wednesday. And of course, everybody loves Costco, shopping at Costco. So that'll be interesting on Thursday. So that's it, everyone. Hope you're having a great weekend, as I said. And of course, you can join us live on YouTube or with our members here in the room on Monday, starting at 8 o'clock. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you then, hopefully. Bye for now.